Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Financial Genius, the only mastermind dedicated to developing your financial genius. We are joined today by our fearless leader, the one and only financial genius himself, Kris Krohn.
Hey, Marianne, so glad to be here. And listen, I'm not the one and only financial genius. I mean, the whole purpose here is to be introducing and helping you meet the people that really have the ability to financially shift your stars. They've dedicated their entire life to developing a way of thinking that leads naturally to prosperity, to abundance. And of course, we are sidekicked today. It's Batman and Robin.
Am I your Robin?
I just called you Robin.
Did you just call me Robin?
Okay. A little bit of a slap in the face.
Robin's cool. Robin's
kidding.
cool. Today's going to be really awesome, Kris. It's kind of a tongue twister, but what we're talking about today is neural hacking your mind to make more money.
And hacking your mind to make more money. Last week we had Robert Allen here,
yes.
And he literally is like, this is how you do creative financing. This is how you do no money down.
So
and by the way, today's guest that I'll be bringing up shortly was actually had a chance to mentor with Robert G. Allen, got him started on his real estate journey. You're going to see patterns emerge because for you to be financially successful, it's not one mentor, it's not two. Here with Financial Genius, there are 25 financial geniuses, and we all understand that you become the average of who you hang around with. And all we're doing here is every week giving you an opportunity to hang around people that think different, act different, and get different.
Kris, the network.
Got to catch them all.
Pokemon. The network of people, the caliber of people that are going to be joining this mastermind is amazing. And I'm like, the connections that mastermind members are going to make through this is just going to be amazing. And when we tell you who's on the call with us today, I think people are going to be pretty stunned at who we're going to be talking with. I, for one, am stoked. But I don't want to steal your thunder, Marianne. You're also leading us today, and super appreciate you being here and the knowledge that you bring to the table. And I'll kind of let you take it away from there.
Thank you, sir. Well, we have some reviews to do. After last week's roundup, we basically had a Vivid Vision assignment, and that was put out to the group. So you were assigned to do a dedicated 15 minutes on your Vivid Vision. For those of you that didn't see that, or those of you that are new, like Nate, by the way, Nate, welcome. We just had you sign up last week. We're so excited to have you.
What's up, Nathan?
So for those of you that just joined us, that are brand new to the mastermind, please jump into that Facebook group, participate in all of the assignments so you can get the maximum power out of this mastermind. We just had a few takeaways posted from last week. Angie Brink says one of her takeaways was, if you want something that you don't have yet, it's only a number of questions away. That was a beautiful takeaway. So again, on that note, we're going to be collecting your questions during this mastermind. So we're going to encourage you to throw those into the chat. I will be personally looking for those, and we'll bring those up to our guest speaker right here at the end. We also have one from Ryan Rice. Be more open-minded and ask, how can it be possible? Not even if it's possible, but how can it be possible? Great takeaway from Ryan there. And DT, he says you have to be a consultant with an ability to listen to problems and come up with creative solutions. So again, wonderful takeaways. Those of you that participated in the Facebook group, thank you for posting those in there. We'll be making a new assignment by the end of this little session we have together here. We'll be posting that in the Facebook group and sharing your upgrades next week.
Yeah, Marianne, listen, first of all, thank you for doing that. And for everyone listening and watching, I want to create some clarity with you on a couple things happening in my life. Right now, I am working on multiple billion-dollar deals, and some of them are multi-billion-dollar deals. And last week, if you were here, if you didn't, go to the Facebook group and make sure you rewatch it, because I revealed this connection with Robert Allen as I was sitting in a cubicle selling his gear when I decided someday I'm going to be that guy in real estate that can change lives. And that was before I bought my first property. And that was now more than $1 billion in transacted real estate ago. So like, we all want to do something right now that'll make us money next week. We all want to do something right now that'll make us money in 3 months. But don't forget that successful people think in decades, not years. They're long-term. And when I look at what's just happened in the last 17 years since I planted that seed, my vivid vision that we talked about last week from Robert Allen, it was me daring to believe in something so big and so different, such a huge, big play for my life. And, you know, you fast forward enough time, and if you stay focused on it, guess what? You wake up one day and you're there. So I'm super excited about the mastermind today. So Carson, Marianne, you guys are gonna be collecting questions. We're gonna reserve the second half for you guys to get live with our guest speaker. But with that, are you guys good if should we get this show on the road and get this going?
Yes, I'm so stoked.
All right, awesome. Okay, so today's guest is most definitely a financial genius because he literally has spoken on stage to nearly 5 million people about this genius. And I want you to just think for a moment who you'd have to be to get on stage after stage after stage. I mean, these stages sometimes have tens of thousands of people. And today we actually have a special guest. We have the amazing Joseph McClendon III, Tony Robbins' #1 speaker on his stage. And I'm going to tell you that today's conversation, when I looked at last week, we talked about business and real estate and how you go and find money instead of working hard to make money. That's going to require a certain mind shift. And so today I wanted to bring someone on that has the ability to actually give you a very practical hack on how you neural hack your mind to actually make more money. And so we're going to be doing that today with the amazing Joseph McClendon III, who, by the way, this gentleman has Academy Award-winning movie stars, Grammy-winning artists, sports figures, millionaires, and billionaires that he has privately coached. So I can't think of anyone bigger in the space for us to learn how to train our mind to actually make more money than Joseph himself. So everybody, let's give a huge round of applause for the amazing Joseph McClendon III.
Hey man,
Joseph, how we doing?
I'm doing spectacular. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful intro. I want to meet that guy.
Well, listen, man, this is really exciting to have you here because I think we all get, and I want your opinion on this. There's an argument out there that says, well, creating wealth, it's one part technique and it's one part psychology, right? It's the shifts in our mind. It's sort of the mindset. In your opinion, how much of this money-making opportunity in life comes down to technique versus mindset?
Well, first off, I think that is absolutely correct. And it's the other way around. It should be psychology first and then technique, because if you don't have the psychology, you're not going to do the technique.
Give it a percentage breakdown. Give it a percentage breakdown.
I have the exact percentage. It is 60% psychology, and I'm going to talk about this a little. 60% psychology, and then 20% energy, and then 20% something that most people, most entrepreneurs, most let's just say would-be financial wizards, for lack of a better term, leave out, and that is the whole concept that I call magnetism. So 60%, bigger piece of it, 60% of it is psychology.
That's a more detailed breakdown than I ever got from Tony Robbins. And you dropped a couple of nuggets already right there that had me thinking. I mean, I know you've been his coach and that's why he puts you on his stage. Let's kick it off, Joseph, with this. Listen, man, you've been wildly successful across several different industries. You've worked with some of the world's elite, most successful people. We're honored to have you today in our financial mastermind because what we're doing is we're home growing financial prodigies, because we understand it's not what you were born with or the family that you were born into. It's actually how you cultivate your mind. And that's really why I want you to be here today. So put a couple of questions down here. The first one is, I want to talk about megapreneur. When you and I were jamming last year, you used a phrase I'd never heard before. You were talking about megapreneurs, and how is that different than an entrepreneur? Because everyone here in this group either has a career working for somebody else, has side gigs, owns their own business. I just want to kick it off with that because I think it'll be a great introduction to who you are as a person. Megapreneur versus entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, first off, I think that what you said is so true with regard to that people need to understand that you said this earlier. You said it's not just one mentor, it's a lot of mentors. And I've had a lot of mentors. So everything that I'm going to tell you and everything I'm going to talk about, I learned from my mentors as well. And I won't teach theory. And what that means is, and I learned this from my mentors, is I'm not going to teach something that I have not done myself and prospered from, and then B, haven't taught, in this case, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of other people to do so as well. And an entrepreneur, and by the way, if you're listening to me right now, listening to us, I hope you're already doing this. Get out a pad and paper so you can write some stuff down so that you can have it, because you want to have this for later. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you something to do. So as Kris said, you start to get a result. An entrepreneur is somebody who has chosen to and actively pursues creating income and wealth through means other than the traditional employer-employee relationship. That's simple, yeah? And a megapreneur is somebody who does that with everything that they do. And they're in that upper 3 to 5% of people. Because the truth of the matter is everybody wants, everybody has desire, everybody means to do something with the best of intentions, but most people don't do it. Procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, fear of success, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, self-loathing, all of those things are the thieves of our dreams. And that's our psychology, and it's 60% of it. So you can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't do something about it, you're not going to get a result. And for myself, as you said, across, at the very least, 5 different industries, and one of them being, which is so great, I'm glad you brought that up, Robert Allen was my first real estate. I made my first fortune, for lack of a better term, in real estate, learning from him.
Wow, that's amazing. So, I always talk about how we're these multidimensional human beings, and some people forfeit relationships to make money in business. Some people forfeit business so that they just hyper-focus on their health. But you're really talking about this multidimensional facet that a megapreneur seeks to find achievement in every area of life. Is that correct?
Correct. I call it being wealthy. Wealthy to me means being healthy, happy, and financially abundant, and teaching it to other people as well, because that's where we get our love, our joy from. That's where we get fulfillment. It's not when we just get all this stuff for ourselves, but we're able to share that with other people as well.
Okay, so interesting then. What do you think the difference is between wealthy, based on that definition, and successful?
Well, success to me is, I have a very specific definition of it. Success is the emotion that is produced when we acknowledge the achievement of something, let's say a predetermined and anticipated goal. What does that mean? It means that you don't have to, like somebody that says, I want to make $1 million. Does that mean you don't get to feel good till you make $1 million? Screw that. You said something earlier. You said, you do this for 10, in your case, 17 years, and you wake up one day, there you are. I'd like to add to that. I say you wake up every day successful. You wake up every day along the way and go, hey, I'm on my way, because that is part of the psychology that keeps us going. Most people feel like they don't, until I reach my goal. It's the achiever's fatal flaw.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick myself up. I'm not going to be satisfied till I get there. Screw that. Happily achieve along the way. You'll go there.
So everyone here in this mastermind, here's something that I want you to be thinking about as we get to Q&A at the end. I want you to ask yourself, what current ritual do you have during the day, preferably in the morning, that sets you up for success? What emotional intelligence practices do you have that sets you up? Because one of the things that I've invited Joseph here to do is to actually share one of his most powerful rituals with you. That's why he's asked you to take some notes on it. But before we really get into that, Joseph, I want to talk about, there's a couple things in particular that I wanted all of my students here to get, which is you have something called a further, faster technology. And it's one of your secrets to how you produce greater success and greater wealth. Can you talk a little bit about what that actually means, your further, faster technology?
Yeah, I love being simple, first off. So here's the question to everybody. And here's your test to see if you want it or not. Put your finger over the 1 or the 2 in the chat room and answer this question. 1 is yes, and 2 is no. Screw you, I don't want it, all right? 1 is yes, 2 is no. Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? Type of 1 if yes, there you go.
Lots of 1s coming in.
Yeah. I don't think anybody on this call would type a 2. Now, by the way.
Not that they would admit to.
Yeah.
We would kick him out, Joseph. We'd kick him out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's put it off for a little bit. How about?
Shut up, Carson.
Procrastination. Love it.
Yeah. No.
Oh, and those of you that didn't answer, is there a category for that too?
Well,
Yeah,
there is.
I
And
see.
by the way, that is procrastination right there, because everybody's going, and whatever is showing up, that's your psychology. We'll talk about that here in a second. That's going, oh, I don't need to do that, or this is silly, or whatever you're going that makes you not hit that number is, I'm going to tell you right now, is what is holding you back, because it's just yak. It's your psychology.
Boom.
That's going
That's
on.
a bomb you dropped right there,
Period.
Joseph.
End of story. If you can't be bothered to type a 1, if you can't be bothered to do that, then guess what? I guarantee you that shows up in your life in other places as well.
Yeah, but Joseph, I got to tell you, like, people will literally, including people here in this group, right? I think we have definitely a cut above elite group of people here.
doubt.
But it's possible that we have a couple of people that might be guilty of what I'm about to say. I put on events, And it's very clear within the first few hours who the front row people are and who the everyone else are. You know, in general, you know that you get the people on the front row that want to play all out. The people that immediately go and sit in the back usually are people that either tell themselves that they're shy or that they're introvert or that they don't like
or their
the rah-rah
spouse
or the
drag
hype.
them there.
Yeah, but then you've got the middle, and it's always the majority, and that's where they're undecided. They're watching and waiting to see, is everyone else going to like jump in? They don't want to be first. And so I hope you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. But first of all, let me say this, you're so spot on that. With Robert Allen, guess where I was at his seminar? Smack dab in the front, right in the front. And I literally went to him afterwards. And because he gave us the plan back there. I'm not sure if he still does the same plan. But and by the way, not to date myself, this was 1983. 1983, when I went to his seminar, and there were maybe 300 people in the room. I sat right in the front, just like you're saying. And when it was over, his plan was, I think his plan was like 2 houses a year for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, you could, retire, or you come away with that with X amount of, I think it was like $10,000 a month, which in 83 was a whole lot of money, even in 93. So I went to him, and by the way, I didn't have that kind of time. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to, do other things. So I went to him and I said, Mr. Allen, can I talk to you for a second? He goes, yeah. And I go, your plan says 2 houses a year for 10 years. Can I do 10 houses a year for 2 years? He goes, yeah. And so I did, using this neuro encoding and the neuro hacking that we're going to talk about today, and how to become a megapreneur. That's my secret weapon. I went back, and within a year and a half's time, and if he remembers, he knows, because I continue to talk to him about it. I bought 26 houses in less than a year and a half time, and
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
But here's the deal. Here's where the megapreneur comes in. There were 300 other people in the class. 300, and I was the only one that bought. I think the closest person maybe bought 3 or 4 houses, 2 or 3 houses, or something like that. And it ain't because I'm so special. It's because I have a system. You said it before. It's a series of systems, of processes that you can do.
Well, I'm excited for you to share those, because when you talk about going further and faster, and we talk about your neural encoding technique that you've created, that you certify people in, one of the things that I've learned is that most of us are not free agents using agency to make new choices. We're really just remaking choices of the past. And if those choices aren't leveling us up, they're actually holding us back. And so today is about what's one new choice that can be made today that will allow more money. I believe wholeheartedly that the only reason why you outperformed everyone else was it started the antecedent, a choice. And your choice was, I'm going to take your program, I'm going to put it on steroids. And you have to be willing to think it and then declare it if you ever expect to see it. Even if you fail at it, you're probably going to go further because you start by making a different decision. And that's what you did.
I would agree with you 100%. And I would add to that, Kris, a choice on itself isn't activity, because we all choose. A lot of people go, I'm choosing not to eat cake tomorrow because, I need to lose weight, and I'm going to do it. And tomorrow I'm going to do it. That's a choice. But a choice without activity, right there in the moment, is going to remain just those spoken words.
And I want to invite everyone right now to actually just think, write this down on your piece of paper. What was the last thing that you decided to do, but that didn't put action behind it?
Nice.
Because this gets you into a really cool space of vulnerability for what Joseph's about to share. I feel like living on the edge for me, what that means is not making dangerous choices. It means making vulnerable choices, being willing to see my blind spots. And your blind spots are the only thing keeping you from being a financial genius with a whole lot more dough. And if you want that to come, then I just want to invite you right now on your piece of paper to write down at least one thing that you committed to do that then you fell short on, because Joseph is literally going to show you how to correct that thing. And if you can learn how to break that pattern every time, you become a person of integrity that can command far greater results in your life.
No doubt.
Now, I want to just spotlight on that real quick. Kris, you dropped a word that has been replaying in my head ever since Joseph opened his mouth, and that is integrity. This thought of, am I the kind of person that does what I say I'm going to do? Even down to, Joseph, what you were saying with, I don't teach anything unless I live it myself, or I've helped other people live it myself. I mean, is integrity kind of a benchmark of this whole system? How does that play in?
Yeah, I would add to that, that integrity alone isn't going to get it done. You got to add something called tenacity. It is the second most important thing. Integrity means doing what you say you're going to do, period. Tenacity means continuing to do what you said you're going to do. That is where the power comes in. That is where the results come in, because action is not power. Listen, that whole thing, and knowledge is power. No, it's not. The second thing we always say, because I like to always distill it down to let's make it doable for everybody, not just for the few, but anybody that's going to listen and do something about it, then you're going to get a result. So action is not power. Action is temporary power. If I want to build this muscle and I go into the gym and you tell me, Joseph, you need to take action. And after I make my choice and I'm going to do it, and I go to the gym and I lift that weight 10 times for 2 days, that ain't going to do jack for that muscle. That muscle is going to hurt, but it's not going to make it grow. What's going to make it grow is that if I do it tomorrow, the next day, and act and do what I call activity. The difference between action and activity is action is once, twice, a few times. Activity is action over and over repeated until you surpass your goal, till you do what Kris said earlier. You wake up one day and, damn, baby.
Joseph,
best moment on the entire
Joseph,
call
I got to say, by the way, if you take integrity, and then if you do it over and over and over again, that you call that tenacity. And when you develop a rapport with yourself that you can trust yourself to do small things, then you can add in audacity, which is to actually level up to the big things.
I love it. I love it. I think the audacity comes from, and listen, that's one of the hacks. That's one of, I call them the immutable laws of the neuro encoding. And what that immutable means, unchangeable. You can't change it. This is just the way that it is. Repetition is the mother of all skill. But let me ask everybody, you freaking achievers, and we all understand that repetition is the mother of all skill. Well, what is the father?
Ooh.
And here's what I mean by that. You want to go further, faster in your life? Yeah, you can do something over and over again, and you're going to get there. That's the way we there's only 2 ways of learning in human beings. One is called repetition. You do something over and over again. You'll learn it into your nervous system. You'll get muscle memory. You'll get all of those things. But if you want to speed it up, I said the other one is what's called significant emotional episode. Something happens that causes great pain or great pleasure, and your brain goes, I want more of that, or screw it, I don't want any more of that. We learn in that moment. But there's a way of speeding the process and bringing both together. Whatever you want to do, when you repeat, and this is the difference between practice and rehearsal. When you repeat something and then you do the one thing that you achievers are the worst at, the absolute worst. And everybody, no matter how much you're going to try and deny it, this is you. Is that you are so freaking hard on yourselves. Look, I see Tom is shaking his head yes. Ryan's shaking his head yes. Queen is shaking his head yes. And if you're not
Kimberly
shaking
there too.
Your ego's in the way, okay? But you're so freaking hard on yourselves. Even when you're successful at something, even when you get your goal, you go, well, I should have done it quicker, or Kris did it faster than me, or so on and so forth, okay? That is poison. That is poison. So you got to get that is part of your psychology that that if there's one hack, and I'm going to teach you another one, but if there's one hack, it is to get off of your ass. And when I don't mean that get off your ass and move, I mean get off of beating yourself up. You should walk by every single mirror and look in your house and look at yourself and go, hey, you're amazing and I love you. That repetition of that teaches your nervous system. That programs you. Oh, don't get me started.
Damn, Joseph.
I love that. I love that.
Joseph.
We're afraid to celebrate.
You know what I love so much about what you just dropped right there is you're talking about how to go further, you're talking about how to go faster, and then you're talking about S-E-E, this significant, what'd you call it, significant emotional episode.
Emotional episode.
And then to top it all off, you've got to actually celebrate what's working instead of identifying and just focusing on what isn't working, unless it's constructive to actually get better, but it's bringing in that emotional energy. Guys, we talked so much about that here. And for Nathan, who's brand new, by the way, Nathan, dude, so glad to have you here. Here's what you're all supposed to be doing right now, because I'm going to have Joseph in just a second here go deep into the exact process that he leverages. His number one top neural hack for making more money. Literally, he's in the middle of it. But Nathan and everyone, this is what's really important. You should have pen and paper. You should be taking notes. And what you're receiving right now is private instruction. Not everything that is said is meant for you. But if you want to grow, What you're trying to do is augment where you're at to where you want to be. So you're writing down personal instruction and you're going to walk away with a whole bunch of notes, but this is what successful people do. Today, you're going to take one or two of those things and you're going to challenge yourself to consistently, with tenacity, so that you have the integrity, implement that into your life every single day. It's too much if you try to pick up 40 habits all at once. It's too much if you try to pick up 5 even new habits for some people. So it's about finding a minimum of one major things that alters your operating system. So Joseph, I want you to keep on going with this line of thinking right now. I do want to get you started. And I want you to share this technique right now that has the power to help us hack our neural minds and say, hey, if I want to make more money, I got to give myself permission and then do the things that'll make it happen.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell everybody first, and here's your first notes to write down, okay? This is super, super simple. First off, it's simplicity. Remember this, that complexity is the enemy of execution. If you don't execute, you're not going to take activity. You make something too complex and people aren't going to do it. So I'm going to make it so freaking simple for you that everybody gets it, okay? Aside from this that I'm about to say, we all function exactly the same way. We all function exactly the same way. It's think, feel, do, have. That's it. Your mind, your psychology tells you how to feel, and depending on how you feel will determine what you're going to do. If you've got a psychology that says, I'm scared, I'm a loser, I've never done this before, I'm too fat, I'm too black, I'm too white, I'm whatever, and if that crap is going on, that's your psychology. And it will cause you to feel a certain way, which makes you not step up to the way that you want. So set that aside. That's how we function as human beings, okay? But this, I'm going to tell you, this is the further, faster 60, I want you to write this down, further, faster 60, 20, 20 rule.
Oh, I'm so glad you're going into this. Yes.
This is stupid simple, but when you get it, and then, hopefully you'll have me back on here and I'll get more detail about it, but I want you to understand it now, and then I'm going to give you the hack, okay? It's 60, I said this before, it's 60% psychology. But here's the deal, whenever you hear something, anything, in the back of your mind, I want you to start asking, what does that mean? How can I use it, okay? So when I say psychology, most people go, because this is the difference, because most people say, you hear it all over the place, you've got to have the mindset of a successful person. Well, yeah, I would agree with you, but what makes the mindset? See, a mindset basically implies that you have a set of thoughts about a specific thing, about money, about making money, about this, whatever. But listen, what if you don't believe you can get it? What if you believe there's something wrong with you? What if you believe you're not lucky enough? What if you believe all of that crap that we all do? Yak, yak, yak. And that is your psychology. Psychology are these three things. Please write them down. It's 60% of everything that you do. It is your belief about yourself, other people, and the world around you, meaning your environment. That's it. Don't make it any more complicated than that. Your constant thoughts, because repetition is what makes a belief. Your constant thoughts that you have said to yourself about yourself or allowed yourself to be influenced. If you believe that you are not good enough, if you believe there's something wrong with you, if you believe you're not lucky enough, if you believe whatever, then guess what? Back on that thing that I said before, you're going to feel that way and you're not going to perform at your best. Go like that if that makes sense. I can see you guys. Throw me a thumbs up if that makes sense, okay? The second thing is if you believe other people are crooked and wrong and take advantage of you and blah, 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 then guess what? It will make you feel that way. You won't trust them and you won't go forward. The antithesis of that is if you believe that people are good, and are great and blah, 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 then guess what? You'll feel that way and you'll perform different. If you believe that the world around you is an unjust place, if you believe that the world around you is just garbage and is full of crap and all that stuff and everything, you see what I'm saying? That's your psychology. Now that's not set in stone. You get to change it. And I'm going to give you a hack on how to start doing that now. Okay. Or here in just a second after I give you the other 20. The other 20, the next one. So that's it. You get your psychology right in what I call neuroencoding. Neuroencoding is the ability to program yourself to automatically default to your best behavior, your best psychology. Program yourself so that when something shows up, good or bad, you automatically respond to, hey, I'm a badass. Hey, I'm amazing. You've programmed yourself with a great psychology. The second piece of it is it's 20%, write this down, 20% energy. Energy. Now, this is the stuff this is the neural hacking stuff that I want you to get. And this is my secret weapon. These three things that have allowed me to be mega successful in real estate and in music and to, being an author and, 5 million people, all those things. My true belief about myself is no matter what I do, at the risk of sounding arrogant, no matter what I do, I'm going to either be the best at or one of the best at. And by the way, that's why I'm teaming up with Kris and this team as well, because I associate myself with the best of the best. And that's what you're doing right now. So the next, and these are, like I said, the intricacies, 20% energy, but here, don't get it twisted. Energy means this, electricity, okay? I'm not talking about the get up and go energy that you're thinking about. I want you to say that get up and go and that enthusiasm comes from the amount of electricity that's coursing through your veins in every single moment. Look, whatever, this ink pen or whatever I have, this microphone, everything is held together with what? Electrons. It's the building blocks of the foundation of this is immutable. It is the building blocks of everything on the planet. Electrons hold the molecules and the atoms together. They're electric, period. Well, guess what you are? You got all those molecules and everything. You're electric across the board. Now listen, Kris didn't say this. By profession, I'm a neuropsychologist. I have a doctorate in psychology. So anything that I say is based in science, not just some stuff that I did what my friend Cunningham, what's his name?
Keith Cunningham? Keith
Cunningham calls a rectal pull. I'm not pulling this stuff out of my ass. Okay? It's all science. It's all science. Everything about you across the board. And you look at Kris. Here's a perfect example. Give me a thumbs up if you can tell this guy's got energy. Just like,
dude, I was just gonna say, I'm like, every day someone on social media says, Kris,
calm down,
dude, too much energy. I'm like, dude, I have beasted myself into this, man, and I've never heard it in terms. I'm like, wow, Joseph, you know what we share in common? Lots of coursing electricity.
Listen, if I plugged you into an EEG machine, electroencephalograph machine, right now, it would register off the charts because you have more electricity. Well, listen, everybody has it and everybody can generate it. And the more you have, listen, the things that have the least electricity move the least and attract the least. A rock moves the least, but it's got some electrons in it. That's what's holding it together. But listen, a sports car has got a lot of electricity and energy going through it because it is moving. A human being is moving. So the more you learn to create more electricity within yourself, and there's a strategy and a process to do that, then guess what? Those two things, you got the psychology, you got the energy. And the third thing is the thing that most people neglect because, and when I say it, some of you are going to go like this. Everybody look at me for a second. Some of you are going to go like this. No, crap, I knew it or something. And you're going to think about this. You're going to go, oh, this is unicorns and rainbows and crystals and stuff. Get off of that, because what I'm about to tell you is real. It's science, and it's something that I call magnetism. It's 20% of everything that you have. I didn't say the laws of attraction. I said magnetism. And I want you to understand. Let's go back up the trail that I just said. Electricity is what? Where am I? Yeah, look at this. Oh, I got them right here. Check this out. I'm about to open your world up. Can I call them bitches? Can I do that?
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good.
I'm game.
You be you.
Watch this. Watch this. And this is going to open it up. This is going to lay everything, open it up to you. Watch this. I got two magnets here. How much time we got? Oh, we got time for this. Yes. Okay. Okay, watch this. Okay, these are two magnets. Okay, where's my pen? Okay. There we go. These are two magnets. They're very powerful magnets. Okay. Now watch this. If I hold them apart, they're going to go back together. Not some of the time, not most of the time, every time. Okay. But what does a magnet attract best? Most people say steel. Well, watch this. This is an ink pen, and on the ink pen, there is a metal or a steel clip. Watch this. It ain't attracting it, right? It's not attracting it. It might try. I have to get here, and even when I do, I can shake it off, okay? Why am I saying that? Magnets attract magnets. Get quicker, easier, faster. You as a human being, and by the way, how do you make a magnet? You bombard it with what?
Electricity.
Electrons, bitches, okay?
Can I get a shirt with electrons, bitches on it? I just want one of those.
Yes. This is science. And everything is a magnet. The planet that we live on right now is a magnet. It's called gravity. But here's what you do. When I say magnetism, now, if you magnetize yourself, which is just energy, you have more energy, and you put that energy, you focus that energy on something else, you cause that thing to energize as well. You transfer it. Give me a thumbs up if this has ever happened to you. You're in your car and you look at somebody and they feel you looking at them and they look over and you're staring and they catch you. Give me a thumbs up if that's happened to you, okay? Or you feel somebody looking at you and you look over and there they are looking at you, okay? Here's what has happened. It's science, okay? When you put your attention and intention on another human being, and by the way, it's synonymous with anything, not just human beings, but human beings is the one that we can understand. Four things happen. Number one, your electricity, it's called electromagnetic energy, grows. In California, we call it your aura, man, but it's real.
Ooh.
Okay? Your electromagnetic energy grows. The second thing that happens is that thing senses it and feels it. The third thing that happens is that thing, electromagnetic energy grows. And when it happens, you become attracted to each other. That's why you look in that direction. I say that because most people overlook, this is my secret freaking weapon. I got to tell you, it is the reason why no matter what I go after, whether it's real estate, all that stuff, I get to be one of the best. And it ain't because I'm so cute. It's because I magnetize myself. But watch this. Here's the, I'm going to show you on my desk here. Now watch this. Here's these two magnets. Can you guys see this? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got you.
Now watch. Here's these two magnets. Now watch. They're going to come together every single time. Why? Because this is a magnet and this is a magnet. And this is and by the way, you're a magnet and whatever you want is a magnet. So when you put your attention on it, boom, they're going to come together. But watch this. If I flip this magnet over, watch this.
Oh.
Okay. Can you see that?
Run away.
It's pushing it away. That is the equivalent of your psychology being out of whack. It's those three things. If your psychology is out of the whack, you push it away. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever sabotaged your silly ass. Yeah, all of us. That means those three things are out of alignment, but you can change them. And let me give you something to change it real quick, and then we'll go on to questions real quick. And that is this. Number one, because Kris asked me to do this, my number one hack, and this, by the way, gets to cut through. Don't ask why, just do it, okay? The number one hack and the number one reason why most people don't succeed in making a lot of money is lack of focus. Got it? It's not that you don't know what to do. You know what to do. It's lack of focus. But most people think focus is the thing. I don't have focus. Scratch that stuff. Yes, you do. If I told you right now, there's $10 million waiting outside your front door, your focus would be right there and you'd get your ass out there and get it. If I said there's a fire in your house, your focus is on getting the hell out of there. We don't have a problem focusing. We have a problem refocusing because we get distracted. We get distracted. So write that down. Refocusing is the key. Like I said, you can know what to do, but if you don't do what you know over and over again, you're not going to get the results that you want. So I'm going to teach you how to refocus. First off, Kris said, and I know you guys, whether it's your goals, your dreams, your desires, anything. First off, give me a thumbs up if you've ever written down or said, I'm going to do this today. And at the end of the day, you didn't do it. And it was because you forgot. Give me one of those.
New Year's resolutions, anyone? New Year's resolutions? Can we just say that?
We started on that, Marianne. Okay. We all, okay. But here's the deal. I'm going to give you a hack that everybody has one. As a matter of fact, some of you are watching me on it right now, watching us on it right now. It's called your freaking cell phone, bitches. Okay.
What is
it's your cell phone? Okay. Siri is the most amazing thing in the world. It's the most amazing neuro hack that I've got because I tell Siri to, in 1 hour, remind me to refocus. Okay. And then when an hour, because a couple things happen, and when that alarm goes off, I go, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. And then guess what? I've refocused on what I want to do. But here's the thing I want you to do. First off, decide, step number one, decide what your focus is today. And you can have many of them, by the way. But just start with one. Decide what your focus is for the day, okay? Number two, set the alarm for every hour. I want you to do this for 10 days. I promise you at the end of 10 days, you're going to notice a difference. This is going to be a hack. Because remember what I said at the beginning of this? We said that this is neuro hacking your mind to create more money, all right? So you're going to hack into your nervous system on all the things that I said before. Number one, it's repetition. That alarm goes off, it stimulates you to go, oh, this. And then so you refocus on what you want. You go back to the goal. Whether it's reading something, doing something, you go, okay. And what that means is, you know, if you're sitting on the couch, you know, watching Netflix and this thing goes off, you go, oh, my fat ass was on the couch watching Netflix. Let me get up and go do something, okay? Number three, so number one is to decide what you're going to focus on. Number two, set your alarm. So number three, when that alarm goes off, and just as soon as the alarm goes off, everybody look at me for a second. Watch this. Everybody look at me. I want you to go like this. Aha! Now everybody do it. Even you, Wayne, do it. Go. Now, just so you know, everything is science. As soon as those eyebrows go up and that smile goes on your face, your brain creates something called dopamine, and it sends it through your system, and your nervous system goes, what just happened that makes me feel so good? And it goes, oh, I refocused. And guess what? Remember what I said? That's a significant emotional event over and over and over again, that you feel good, and your nervous system says, let's do more of that. And you enhance, you actually learn to become more focused. Does that make sense?
Boom, Joseph. Oh my gosh, you brought the heat today. I absolutely love the pattern interrupt, and I love that we are training and to ourselves to rehabituate. We're actually habituating something new. You know, so many people use the word focus, and I often use the word obsession because I want to get it through their heads. I'm like, listen, whatever it is that you're going after, you're not spending enough time with it. You're not putting enough energy into it.
Perfect.
And so I love this conversation to refocus. I love the hack of using your cell phone as a tool to program that every hour of the waking day. And then I love the amazing energy where you're creating that dopamine effect because you want to take that positive energy, you want to link it to refocusing is good instead of, I was procrastinating, I was putting it off, and now I'm going to beat myself up and feel bad about myself like you were telling me. It's like, every time you refocus, you want to stimulate a positive event and get yourself excited. This is brilliance, dude. I absolutely love it. Thank you for sharing this.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Joseph, I want to get into some Q&A with everyone that is here. You've gone hard in such a good way on this particular line of thinking, and man, you have delivered very powerfully, because today, every week, listen, we are all growing wealthier together. And all I'm doing is sharing how I'm doing it, and I'm sharing how Joseph is doing it, and I'm sharing how other financial geniuses are doing it. I promise you, Marianne is doing it, Carson's doing it. And this is something that really bonds us all together. And I already know that right now, Marianne is coming up with the assignment at the end of our hour that we want you to work on this next week.
Already done. It's in the Facebook group, man.
I know you can guess what it's probably going to be, but Marianne and Carson and everyone, I'd love for you to go to the chat. We'd love to pull you on, bring you up. As a reminder, if you were to go to, for example, a Tony Robbins event, you would probably be sitting in the nosebleeds, and yet you'd spend almost half of the entire event watching the amazing Joseph McClendon. And if you had a question to ask him, it would be nearly impossible, practically impossible for you to actually get in his airspace and ask that question. He's a super valuable man that is changing lives all over the world. This is your opportunity. So I'm going to invite you to be a front rower right now and to actually say, okay, listen, if I've got my shot to ask a question, put that in the chat. We're going to have Marianne and Carson tee that up. And we're going to hit Joseph with a couple of these questions before we get to top of the hour.
Now, I have a question. Now, Jason has been lighting up the chat already with question after question after question. I can tell that he's taking all of these ingredients and he's putting them in his brain, and he's asking, how do these all work? And what do I do with these? So Jason asked a couple of questions. I think the most poignant one that we'll kick off with is, how do I improve myself every day by tracking every metric possible? How is this done?
I didn't hear the last, by tracking what?
Every metric possible. Now, this is something that Kris taught, and I think is combining with what you're doing is, I'm going to track my growth so that I can watch my success happen. He says, how do I improve myself every day by tracking these metrics?
Well, first off, track it with joy. Track it with joy. I couldn't agree with you. You want more. You track it with joy, because here's how most people do it. Look, watch me. Here's how most people track.
Oh, look at your face.
Don't do that. Listen, rehearsal is practice with joy. Okay? Listen, everybody write this down. Write this down. Self to self for progress. Self to self for progress, and self to others for possibility. Most people have it flipped. Most people look at what, like when they're tracking their numbers, they're going, okay, well, that's not good enough. And Kris did better, or so on and so forth. Okay. That's the achiever's hook. That's a flaw. Instead, because you're comparing yourself to somebody else for your progress. Don't do that. Compare yourself to yourself. Okay. You go, oh gosh, I've done better here. I've done better here. I could use some work, or I can use some work. Look at where my eyebrows are. Okay. Up. They're not like this. When you do that, listen, you got 80 muscles on your face. It's the largest concentration of muscles on your entire body, and it's there for a reason. Because every expression that you make causes your brain to release something that I call awesome sauce or stress sauce. Awesome sauce are the dopamines, the endorphins, and all of those things that make us feel good. Stress sauce is our cortisol and things that make you feel bad. When the eyebrows go up, dopamine. It's this simple, freaks. When your eyebrows go down, it's stress, okay? So if you're looking at what you want and you got one of those stresses on your face and you're looking at your numbers, then guess what? You're causing your body to feel bad. You're making cortisol go through your system, and your system's going, screw this. I don't want to do this. I'd rather eat cake.
Awesome.
I'm going to eat cake like this.
Yes. Eat cake with eyebrows up. I wrote this down. Marianne, what's next?
Okay. This is another one from Wayne. I've just been talking to Wayne today and early yesterday. He asks very specifically, what books can we read that Joseph recommends to improve our psychology, energy, and magnetism?
Beautiful. The Holy Grail, the Bible. And even some of you are going to go, oh, I already read that. If you got that attitude, read it again. It's Think and Grow Rich. It's
Napoleon Hill.
Rich, bottom line. Listen to me. I read that book every year from the time I was 19 years old. And some of you don't know this. And by the way, I don't use myself as some shining example of the way things should be, but I do use myself as an example of what is possible. And that is this. I was homeless once in my life. I lived in a cardboard box. And I was there because 3 grown men tried to take my life because of the color of my skin. And I always tell everybody, it wasn't the beating that was the worst part. It was the things that they said to me that left me, destroyed my psychology. And what changed it was somebody gave me the book, Think and Grow Rich. When I read the book, I went, watch. Aha! And I realized that it wasn't, I had control. So I read that book every year from the time I was 19 years old till the time I was 35 years old. And every time I read it, I got something new. So there's your answer. Yeah, that encompasses it all. That's
beautiful. Wow. I love that. And great recommendation.
So simple too. Just boil it down to one.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, Kimberly keeps dropping. She's like, I have these affirmations. I'm going to read this and reread this. So thank you, Kimberly, for taking this to heart. So you mentioned earlier, Joseph, that repetition is the mother. Can you simplify that for us and say, who's the father and what's the baby? Like, what are we producing here?
Yeah. So here's I'm sorry I left you hanging on that, but I'm glad you brought that
up. I was waiting, man.
The repetition means you do something over and over again, you're going to get good at it, period. But the father is praise. It's what makes it go faster, further. It's what makes everything speed up. Joy, praise. When you turn around and pat yourself on the back, you guys know me from shaking that ass, from doing things like that. As soon as you do that, dopamine release, and your brain always goes, why did I get that bump? Oh, this is what just happened. Let's do it again and do it faster. So you can practice something. If you play keyboards, if you play, you can play scales over and over again. But if you play those scales and at the end of every time you do it, you go, I'm a badass. I'm amazing. Your nervous system says, do it again, and you get faster at it. That's the short version.
Dude, I love that. So bottom line, Joseph, feeling good creates proficiency. Absolutely. Feeling good makes you better, further, faster. That's really your further, faster hack is it's not just the mother of repetition. You got to combine it with the father of praise.
Yes. All those three things that I said as well.
I love that. And I love that the praise comes from the father, because generally speaking, and if you're going to stereotype, families out there, I don't think a lot of people would put praise on that paternal role. So I love that's where you're coming from and saying, hey, let's make that a part of it. Because the paternal role is a strong role. It's the ultimatum. And if praise is my ultimatum, that changes things.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Listen, Marianne, I think we got time for one more question, and then we're going to go for some closing remarks, our homework assignment before we meet again, and then what to do in the meantime this next week.
Okay, I want to end with this question again from Jason. Jason, apparently this was for you today, buddy. How do I stop comparing myself to others? Joseph, what would you say?
Two things. Number one, interrupt your pattern when you do. And then number two, start comparing yourself to yourself. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. In interrupting the pattern, you got it. When you listen, everybody write this down. Any pain is a signal to interrupt that pattern. Any pain is a signal. What that means is whenever your eyebrows go down, whenever you're worried, whenever you're procrastinating, whenever everything, that's painful. It's an emotional pain. And what that means is it's time for you to look at me, everybody. It's time for you to go, okay? Because here's what happens. When you interrupt that pattern, I don't care what it is. I got a longer conversation about this. We'll do this next time. But when you're in a pattern of unresourcefulness, doubt, worry, fear, whatever, you're there and eyebrows are down and things like that. If you interrupt that pattern, then guess what? You create something called a scotoma, called a blank spot. And then a blank spot wants to do what? It wants to be filled up. And when you go, dopamine release, and you feel good about it, okay? And so what the trick is like I said, it's not stopping doing something. It is interrupting the pattern and then compare yourself to yourself. Was it Jason? Jason, yep. Are you doing better now than you were at any time in your past? The answer is yes. And if you can't figure something out, you used to poop your pants, buddy. You don't do that anymore. So you're doing better.
Everyone give it up for Jason on that one.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have proof, but we're gonna
lifetime of success.
I love it.
Hey, Kris, I think we have one more question from Nathan.
That's a really good one from Nate. Yeah.
Oh,
I hope
you want to field it, Marianne?
Yeah. Well, he just asked some specific examples. He said, what are some techniques to improve electricity and magnetism? How is this done?
Stand up. Stand up as often as possible. Listen, real quickly, we have muscles, bones, and organs, and all of them play a specific role. Most people think our muscles are just to move our bones. No, they have an additional use that I want you to understand. And I got this, it's not because I'm so brilliant. I got it from my dear friend, Dr. Jerry Tennant. You can go check him out. Our muscles are what are called piezoelectric cells. Piezo what cells? Electric cells, okay? And what that means is a piezoelectric cell generates and stores electricity. I want you to look at your muscles as being batteries, okay? They disperse electricity when you move them, okay? They store electricity from the food that you eat, from the sunlight, from the water that you drink, and all that stuff. It stores it up. That's how we get the electricity in us. But when we move our bodies, and again, go check it out on YouTube and look up EKG and you'll see it. So when you move your body, and by the way, use your phone to do it. When that phone goes off, stand up and put a smile on your face. The more you stand up, how many of you have ever done this? You're sitting at your desk, especially through COVID. You're sitting at your desk and you're going, oh God, okay? We've all done that. That's pain. That's a signal to break that pattern. Stand up. You'll get more electricity. Breathe deeply. Lastly, I want everybody to do this. Everybody put a frown on your face, just to prove my point. Everybody put a frown on your face. Now, with a frown on your face, take a breath. Take a deep breath. Okay. Now let it out. Now watch this. Put a smile on your face with your eyebrows up. Okay. Biggest smile. Now take a deep breath. How many of you noticed that you got more air with a smile on your face?
Totally.
100%.
Big time.
30% more oxygen, 30% more electricity from a smile on your face, from moving your body. 80 muscles, kids. Move them. Move. That's how you generate more electricity.
So Joseph, like I go to, most people when they hear about people's morning routines, and there's the millionaire morning routine, and I've got mine, you've got yours. Dude, I'll wake up like I did this morning at 4 a.m. and I'll go to the gym for 2 or 3 hours, and I am doing meditation and reading books and some other stuff. But so much of what I'm doing there is I'm just expressing a lot of energy. And when it's all over, I feel energized. I feel better. I don't feel tired, even though I expended all those calories. I actually feel more ready for the day. Is that the same thing?
Absolutely, because remember, they're piezoelectric cells. They generate it, and when they generate it, it's got to do something with it. It doesn't just go away as soon as you stop moving. There's a residual. That's what you're doing.
Beautiful. Well, listen, everyone, and Nathan, great questions today. Jason, I want to thank everyone for showing up, asking these questions. Marianne, hit us up with the homework assignment.
Well, here's your homework assignment for this week.
No,
What's that, Joseph?
I've got to bug out of here in 6 minutes. So can I say goodbye now?
Yeah,
Please
guys,
do.
can y'all do me a favor and give it up for the amazing Joseph McClendon III? Let them see your hands. Hey, and can everyone just stand up and do one of these? Hey! Now we know how to greet Joseph when we see him. Hey!
Thank you much. You're all amazing.
Well, wonderful.
Joseph, thank you so much. So glad to have you here today, brother.
Out. Bye, everybody.
Love you, brother.
Peace out, Joseph. Thanks so much.
We'll be in touch.
All right, friends, well, listen up. This week's assignment follows on the heels of last week's assignment, which was, as you remember, spending 15 minutes in your vivid vision. This week's assignment, it follows on the heels of that. So step number one, and this is already posted in the Facebook group for all of you. Step number one is to name your focus. And if you want to take an element from your vivid vision, I highly recommend doing that. Step number two, like Joseph said, is set your alarm to refocus. Whether you use Siri or bless your soul, if you use Android, we forgive you. But set your alarm to reclaim your focus every hour. Number three, smile and give yourself a when that alarm goes off. So in the Facebook group, share with us what your focus is. Set your alarm. In fact, if you really want to get proactive with this, take a screenshot of that alarm being set so we actually know that you did it. And then smile and give yourself an when you have posted that. So there's your homework for this week. Kris and Carson, do you have anything that you want to leave us with before we wrap up today?
Listen, I just want to say I'm just so glad that we had a chance to have Joseph here today. Like my notes, I filled up my entire notepad with some amazing notes from Joseph today, and there's something that Joseph said I think that's really important for me, which is you've got to always be stimulating yourself to learn and step into a growth mindset, and that's what this is about. Every day that we meet is an opportunity for you to actually receive more thoughts and ideas of the secrets of some of the most successful and wealthiest people on the planet. And the lineup that we have this year, the people that I'm bringing on, literally, by the way, billionaires, many of them multimillionaires. I don't think there's anyone that we're ever going to be bringing on that isn't a multimillionaire. These people are sharing with you an eclectic approach to the game of finance. And sometimes the guests that we bring on are technical based. Like next week, I have an amazing financial genius that is going to produce techniques of making money. But we're always going to be comparing that with people like Joseph McClendon that say, yeah, but guess what? It's the habits, it's the patterns, it's the thought patterns. And today he got to share his private neural encoding process that he's been using as a licensed therapist and a psychologist. And I think there's a lot to that. So I think the most important thing you can do this week is you've now gotten exposure to Joseph that I wanted. Now I want you to take something from Joseph's universe and bring it into your universe and practice it. Every week, if you're doing these homework assignments, you're going to think different about money, you're going to feel different about money, and you're going to get better at the game. Now, I want to drop one last idea, Marianne, before I turn it over to Carson and you.
Hit us with it, buddy.
Which is, some of you are thinking, I don't know exactly, like the technique is cool, but what should I apply it to? I'm going to give you a default. If you don't know what to apply it to, then I want you to do this. I want you to think 12 months from now, what's the amount of money you want to be earning that you're not today? It could be a residual income. It could be a net worth bump. It could be an income increase. Whatever it is that you're going after 12 months from now, in fact, just do it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and just decide a year from now, what do I want to see financially improved? And right now, there's just an automatic gut instinct that you've already thought about in the past. It's pre-programmed. You've called it forth. You have what it is. And you could literally, every hour that your phone goes off, you could think about that thought that you haven't achieved yet and then tie a really powerful energy to it, because you're going to produce those dopamines. You're going to enhance your electricity in your body through those electrons. You're going to increase the magnetism. And literally, just by reminding yourself to focus on the thing that you want and to feel good about it instead of bad that you haven't achieved it yet, what it's going to do is it's going to increase that magnetic pull, that attraction, and it's going to bring the people and the circumstances and the things into your life that are going to make it more possible. You don't know how it's going to happen. Your job is never to know how. Your job is to know what you want and put the proper energy behind it. So think about that financial goal of where you want to be a year from now, and every hour that goes off, make that sound, bring them that joy, stand up, make a movement, and enhance and create that excitement in your life that becomes that father that you're looking for, of praise that you so well deserve.
Well, and Kris, I wanted to piggyback on that and just say, literally, vocally praise yourself, because like Joseph said, like the father of acceleration is this idea of praising ourselves. And I think we, as, I don't know, culturally as Americans, I think we have a hard time standing up and being like, I'm awesome. Like, we're afraid people will think we're arrogant, or
It's patterns of the poor, man.
it is.
It's we're getting rid of them. It's patterns of the poor.
And so I just want you to tie that to it. Verbally praise yourself. Every time I set my alarm, as Joseph was talking about, I already got mine set up, and I praise myself. And as you know, here at the company, I push us to celebrate as often as possible, because it makes people do the right things more often and faster.
So I want to have everyone in the chat right now, before we end, Marianne, just drop what their focus is. I know you want to see it on the Facebook page as well. I'd like to see it.
Yes, they'll have to double up,
because I want to actually read the comments, and I want to know what it is that you guys are focusing on. So right now, just drop it in. When that alarm goes off, folks, what are you adding dopamine to? What's the thought or idea that you want to reinforce that feels good and leaves you better off as a human being? And drop that. That way we can all get to know each other better. You guys know that we have our annual event in the coming weeks. We're going to be releasing the date for that, since Financial Genius is a relatively new mastermind. It's one where I'm giving more mentorship than I ever have before. I'm very, very excited about it. And we'll all get a chance to meet each other. We're going to be financially better off. And then we're going to literally create so much energy around the next in your life that before we see you again, you're going to be achieving at levels that you just haven't before. It's going to be amazing.
Drop that in the chat, folks. And again, remember to drop it in the Facebook as well. But before we go, throw it down there. Just as fast as you threw that in at number one, you better, there it is, creativity. We got KS Phone coming in. I love that. Throw those down in the chat just as quickly. Participate in your own life. That means participating when your mentors call you to action. So drop that in the chat right here so we can check that out and acknowledge you. Creating unlimited energy, Tom. I love that. Some keys from today. Very cool. Passive income. Here we go. They're starting to roll in. Focus. 12 months from now, I want a residual income. Nate, I want to know how much. Self-reflection and taking more action. Yeah, let's get super clear on that, right? 1150 minutes. I don't know what that means. Oh, 1150 minutes.
Minimum.
Ha, I get
minimum.
It.
I like
there it is. I was like, minutes. I don't understand. Wonderful. The more clear
I'll
you
take
are,
more.
There you go. At least we'll say that. At least 1150. Let's see. Jason says 100K extra more this year in residual income. The more specific you are, the better off you are. Love that. Those are coming in great. Now listen, I want you to post these in the Facebook group. You're surrounded. Kris was right. Kris is not the only financial genius in this mastermind. I think every one of us can take on that title, celebrate that title, and leverage each other's expertise, not to mention the expertise of the amazing experts that Kris has taken the time to bring on to this mastermind with us. With that, we are going to go ahead and wrap up and make sure that you understand where the Facebook assignment is going to be found. I'm going to post that Facebook link in the group chat so that you can remember to log on and participate there during this week. Friends, thank you for joining us for this week's Financial Genius Mastermind. We will see you next time.